On July 4, 1826, America was throwing itself a birthday party. It was exactly 50 years since the Declaration of Independence. Fireworks, parades, bells ringing across a proud young nation. But hundreds of miles apart, two old men lay dying. Two men who had built that nation together, then torn each other apart. Two former friends, then bitter enemies, then friends again. And on that day, the nation's 50th birthday, they both died. Hours apart. One of the strangest, most beautiful coincidences in all of history. Their names were Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. And it's hard to imagine two people more different. Jefferson was tall, elegant, an aristocrat from Virginia. Reserved, soft-spoken, a writer who avoided confrontation. Adams was short, stout, a lawyer from Massachusetts. Loud, blunt, hot-tempered, a fighter who loved an argument. One historian asked, how could they ever have become friends? And yet, in 1776, they became one of history's great partnerships. They met as delegates to the Continental Congress. The colonies were on the edge of war with the British Empire. Someone had to write the document declaring independence. Adams, the fierce debater, insisted Jefferson do the writing. Jefferson, just 33, wrote it in a matter of weeks. The words that would echo for centuries. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And on the floor of Congress, Adams defended it fiercely. One called Jefferson the pen of the Revolution, the other its voice. Together, they helped create the United States of America. They became close friends, even their families grew close. It seemed like a friendship that could never break. But building a country is one thing, running it is another. As the new nation took shape, the two men split, hard. They disagreed about almost everything about how to govern. Adams believed people were driven by passion. Power needed limits. Jefferson believed in reason and the will of the common people. One wrote, "Reason is the helmsman that steers our ship." The other replied, "But passion is the wind that drives her forward." Then came the election of 1800, and they ran against each other. It was one of the ugliest, most vicious elections in American history. Their supporters hurled insults. The friendship shattered. Jefferson won. Adams left the presidency and left in bitterness. The two founders stopped speaking. For 11 long years. Think about that. Two men who created a nation together. Now separated by silence, pride, and old wounds. They grew older in their separate homes, hundreds of miles apart. Both watching the country they built grow up without them. It could have ended there. Two old rivals dying as strangers. But one mutual friend refused to let that happen. His name was Benjamin Rush, a fellow signer of the Declaration. And Rush had a strange dream he couldn't shake. He dreamed that Adams and Jefferson would reconcile, write letters again, and one day die around the same time. Rush gently nudged both men toward each other. And on New Year's Day, 1812, Adams took the first step. He sent Jefferson a short, warm note wishing him well. Jefferson wrote back, and something remarkable began. Over the next 14 years, they exchanged 158 letters. They wrote about politics, philosophy, family, aging, and memory. Two old men reflecting on the world they'd made as friends again. Adams wrote, "You and I ought not to die before we have explained ourselves." Their letters are now treasured as masterpieces of American writing. By 1826, both men were very old and very frail. Jefferson was 83. Adams was 90. And the nation was preparing to celebrate its 50th birthday. Both were invited to the festivities. both were too weak to attend. At Monticello, Jefferson was slipping in and out of consciousness. His last clear words were a question. "Is it the 4th?" He was holding on, trying to reach that 50th 4th of July. He died just after noon on July 4th, 1826. Hundreds of miles north in Quincy, Adams was also dying. He didn't know Jefferson was already gone. That evening, Adams stirred and spoke his final words. Thomas Jefferson survives. He was wrong. Jefferson had died 5 hours earlier. But in a way, Adams was right. They both survive, in the nation they made. The timing stunned the country. 2 founders gone the same day. The 50th anniversary of the document they created together. To many, it felt like more than coincidence. It felt like destiny. And remember Benjamin Rush's strange dream years earlier? It had, impossibly, come true. Historians still debate how 2 dying men reached that exact day. Maybe willpower. Maybe chance. Maybe something we can't name. But maybe the deepest part isn't how they died. It's how they lived. 2 people so different, they should have been enemies forever. They built something great together, then let pride tear them apart. And in their final years, they chose to forgive. They decided what united them mattered more than what divided them. And they died, 50 years on, as friends, bound to each other and to a nation. Sometimes the most human story is hidden inside the history we think we know. If you love the human stories hiding inside history, this is your channel. Subscribe to Fiuzaverse, and let's keep uncovering the stories behind the dates. And to every American watching, happy 4th of July. 250 years strong.